So you guys seem to really like the paint and talks I do, where I go over the art that I've been loving recently. Usually I do these like once a quarter, and I just talk about the albums, the books, the songs, the movies that I've been watching and listening to and reading, and the stuff I've really been liking. And I enjoy doing these, first of all, but I also always feel like a little bit silly, because like there's just something kind of backwards about the fact that I talk once a quarter about my favorite thing then, but what's my favorite thing that I read in August compared to my favorite thing ever, right? So I think that just a good thing to do as we get all the way up to Paint and Talk 260 here, as we get pretty far into this whole shebang, is to finally go over just some of my favorite stuff ever. I'm going to do the normal routine, right? There's going to be one album, there's going to be one book, and there's going to be one movie, but rather than just being my favorite thing from, the last week that I read and I'm just thinking about right now, these are going to be the things that really have been important to me over the years. And I'm going to warn you, there's probably no way that all these are just one thing. Like, if we're being real, right? Because, like, it's my favorite thing ever. Like, give me a little slack, guys. I think I usually start with music when I do these, right? So I'll start there, here. I have two answers here. As I said I would. On the one hand, I got to give a little shout out to Pinkerton by Weezer. I know this probably just made like 20 people click off. That's really fine by me. You're not wanted here anyways if you don't like Weezer. But do I listen to this album much anymore? No, right? It's a little outdated. But it really was just a huge thing for me when I was younger. This was my favorite album when I was younger. This was just a massive thing for me. And it was really important to me. My favorite album now is Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers by Kendrick Lamar. I listened to this right when it came out, and sort of what Pinkerton did for me when I was younger, of be something like unknowingly, right? I listened to that album, which for those of you who don't know, it's like pretty famously incel music, even though I think that's a little bit of a misrepresentation. I think it's a little cooler. I think more people could get into it if it didn't have that label, maybe. But, I can't fight the allegations of it being some loser-ass music. Weezer, Pinkerton at least, for sure. But unknowingly, right, you listen to a lot of things when you're younger that, like, it's helping you process emotions. Obviously with an album like that, it's sort of a foundation of emo rock as you get into the early 2000s. So, like, I think it was sort of like a little bit of an angstiness that's like sort of the vibe that I think comes off of that. And if that album back then helped me process my emotions when I was younger, unknowingly, I think Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers does the same thing for me now, and I listen to it almost in the same regard. Like, I do think I listened to it in a very similar way, actually, that I listened to that back in the day. I think it's a little bit more of a conscious sort of therapy, right? I do feel that the album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, I'm sure you all know about, like, sometimes I do these, like where I talk about the art I've been loving recently, and I'm like, man, great video where I just talked about 3 things that everybody's gonna be like, cool, man, not interested. But, like, I feel like Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, a lot of people know about, a lot of people really like. And the album's obviously following, not like a storyline, but it has sort of a theme around therapy and, like, a healthy coping with things, right? And I think, obviously, the album does this for the listener, too, right? Like, I think that listening to that album is a very therapeutic experience. It is something that, and I can't believe I'm about to admit this on the internet, like, when I am feeling a certain way, when something bad happens, it's something I throw on. It strangely helps, right? I think especially, too, because of just how insanely good Kendrick is at writing lyrics. They're sort of lyrics that, well, very specific on some songs. Other songs are just sort of almost this abstract poetry that I find I can adhere onto my life no matter really how far I am maybe from the exact experiences that are being detailed on the album. I don't know, there's something about saying that seems performative to me almost, I don't relate, but I can relate, Like, it has that kind of vibe to it when I say that, but I think that's what great art does, right? I think you can latch on to something. I didn't relate to Pinkerton by Weezer when I was 16, but it did the same thing. I think that's what a lot of great art does. So I think that album does it for me. I do want to actually throw one thing out there just to talk a little shit, why not? When that album came out, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, people were like, Kendrick, I can't believe you made us wait for this. Kendrick, you baited us. You were all wrong. And the thing is, you all know you're wrong now, though. Like, everybody and their mom has gone back and been like, yeah, this album's a classic. I don't know why we did that. Especially with the whole beef he had with Drake, right? People were, which that's hot news. I should probably give my take on that in another video. I should do another, probably 20, 30-minute video on that. Just really get out all my takes on that. I think that's really hot news right now. But, I think that made a lot of people go back to Mr. Morale and the Big Surfer and be like, wait, this is a fantastic album. I just want to throw it out there for you all. Just let the record show I was there since day one. Did I do something terrible when it came out? Yes, I did. The second it came out, I opened the album. I woke up that morning and I listened to the song with Baby Keem before any of the songs. And that is the most insane thing to say now. But hey, it's what I did. I think it's hilarious now looking back, and it's funny too just because of how, I listened to the Baby Keem song, and then I listened to a couple of the others, and I was like, yeah, this is alright, whatever. I didn't really care, and I think I just added the Baby Keem song to my playlist, and it's so funny now that I know, just how impactful of an album it is for me, looking back on my dumbass listening to the Baby Keem song before anything else. But those are my two favorite albums of all time, right? Next, I think we usually go into books, do we? I don't know. I feel like I just did one of these. I don't feel like I know I just did one of these. But for some reason, I am forgetting the order I do things in. We'll just go books next. Books are easy for me. I actually have one book that's my favorite. It's The Stranger by Albert Camus. The book it changed my life. I mean, I feel like that's the thing everybody says about The Stranger, right? It really is one of those things where it's you read The Stranger expecting it to be something insane. It's not a thing you're like, oh, I've heard of this Camus guy, let's pick up The Stranger. You go into The Stranger I know I'm about to read something insane. And it is something insane. It's an insane book, and I think that this book, for me, is also partially because of when I read it. I really hated reading my whole life, which is probably weird to say now because half these pain talks are me being I'm a guy that's not that interesting to listen to this quote that I read in a book once, so that's kind of something, right? And then you guys are like, oh yeah, I guess he reads books or whatever, right? I feel like that's what half of this whole thing is. So it's probably weird to hear that I really hated reading at one point, but I couldn't do it. I genuinely, my attention span wasn't there, nothing was there, and it was just because I wasn't reading stuff that I liked, especially this story takes place sort of in early high school, I guess. And at 14, when you're like, oh, I can't read, everybody's like, well, you should try, and they'll hand you some bullshit. It's they'll hand you something that's not gonna be fun at all, because they're like, oh, they don't like reading, they must want dumber stuff. And I'm not trying to make it sound I needed some highbrow stuff, but I think that's the association, right? Is kid is dumb and doesn't like reading, let's hand him a dumb book for a dumb kid because he's a dumb little loser, and then he'll learn to read, right? And that's what they did to me when I couldn't read in school, when I was terrible at reading, and I was going home and copying the notes off all my friends and stuff. But then I found, I don't even know how I found it to this day, but I found The Stranger, and I was like, oh my god, wait, I do like reading. I just need something that is up my alley, right? And I didn't really know what that alley was, because I wouldn't say The Stranger is a book that has a super defined genre other than just being a classic. But it got me to where I am today, and I think it just really hit me at the right time. It was the first thing that got me to, because I sort of I would say my entire life I've been open to changing my perspectives on things. I've always been a curious person, but it still is different when it gives you that first thing of here is the path you're gonna go down to change your perspectives. That being philosophy, right? So I understood through just being a dumb little guy that what is morality? I don't know, but then I think it was the first time I was really opened up to the idea of oh wait, I don't know, but there's this thing over here that I can go sort of explore, and maybe I can know. I just ate a salad before this. Now I'm really worried that there might be a little bit of a little green in my teeth, and I just don't know, and I'm really scared about that. But we're gonna keep this rolling. I don't know why I said that either. But my other book that I gotta throw in here, well, I don't know. I guess it's technically not a book, but it's more of a comic book. It's not more of a comic book. It is a comic book. Animal Man by Grant Morrison, best comic book of all time. I was hesitant to throw it in here because it's like a comic book, really. But comic books are amazing. Comic books are amazing, amazing stuff. If you are open to the idea of reading a comic book, go read it. It is going to change your life. It's insane. I made a whole other video talking about it, I think. Maybe I didn't release that. I have no idea. But I gotta throw that in here too. I'm not gonna spend time talking about it because I'm pretty sure I made another video talking about it. But that and One Piece, I must say, are also two of my favorite pieces of art ever made. But, you know, I want to throw them in here for the spirit of, like, that stuff is art, you know, and I think that's an important thing to consider here. And that's why, I think that's actually part of the reason I haven't made a video like this yet, even though it's, like, the easiest thing to do, is just talk about the stuff I really like. Because, like, I don't have good taste in things. Like, I'm not somebody who's, like, gonna be, like, you know, coming here like, oh, you know, the best movie of all time? Clearly, Persona. Like, I'm not, I don't know, I'm not smart. I'm not somebody who's, like, reading good things and, like, watching highbrow movies being like, oh, yes, the mise-en-scène. I don't even know what mise-en-scène means. I Googled that word last week. I remember Googling it. I don't remember what it means, though. Like, I have terrible taste. I have really lowbrow taste. So I've, like, avoided making this video. But there's also the other side of me that's like, dude, like, even if you have, like, even if you're not into the stuff that, like, people are like, is the good stuff or whatever, it's still cool. It's still awesome stuff. So I think we all should just be more about, like, just actually do what you like. Get into what you like. Like, one of my big pet peeves is when you ask somebody, like, what's your favorite movie? And they're like, they say the most acceptable answer, which, listen, some people's favorite movie is The Godfather. And that's fine. But, like, you're telling me, you, the 14-year-old on Letterboxd right now, like, this is really your favorite movie? Like, be honest with ourselves for a second. Maybe you could admire and be like, this is amazing, but, like, this is really the movie that impacted you the most. I don't know, I feel like some of our taste has devolved into that. As, like, the internet makes everybody so aware of what the classics are considered of things, and it's like, everybody's scared to, like, branch out now, you know? Everybody's scared to find a new thing and be like, this could be terrible, but, you know, I like this. I'm going to tell everyone I like it. And because of that, we don't have as many new things spreading. Like, once a year, everybody discovers some old movie, and they're like, have you guys known that this is the best movie ever? And then, like, you have 10 guys being like, I actually watched this movie a year ago, and I loved it. And it's like, dude, everybody's just, like, performing now. Like, I think it's cool to just be like, everything is cool, everything's art, just say what you like, right? So that's why I'm here today doing this in that spirit. And that's why I will say, One Piece and Animal Man, two of the best things that I've ever experienced. Amazing, amazing works of art. Lastly here, we're going to wrap up with movies. I think it's the only category I don't have two things. I do have a definitive favorite movie, and that is Yi Yi by Edward Yang. I think this is actually terrible timing because I just went on a whole rant about how you should not perform your taste, and you should be more authentic about what you like. And Yi Yi is, like, considered to be one of the best movies ever. I think it is, like, one of the top movies on Letterboxd. So, like, you know, maybe a little bit of irony there for sure, but this movie genuinely did. I mean, it is an amazing movie. It is. And you know why I know it's an amazing movie? Because everyone I've ever recommended it to has been like, yeah, no, that was insane. It follows the life of a family over a year. There's 4 members of the family. There's the little boy who's like 4, I want to say. There's the teenage girl, and there's the mom and the dad, of course, right? And the movie starts with a wedding and ends with a funeral. And it just traces the life of these characters over the course of a year. And I mean, like, wow. Like, it really... I think that, like, is there a way... This is a question, right? This is not me trying to make a metaphor or something. This is a genuine question. Do you guys think there's a way to put life into a work of art, right? I don't know. I don't know if that, like, if you could encapsulate life, the experience of being a human, into art at all. And maybe Yi isn't that. It feels that way for me. The themes of change and of being scared of things and all that stuff that I've dealt with so heavily in my life that I have felt are some emotions that kind of preside over my own life, I found to be present in Yi, and I felt like it actually changed. Not changed, but was the first time I'd ever actually seen my whole life put into a movie. It had that impact on me. My friend who recently watched it actually said a very similar thing, but he had a different theme of the movie, being, I believe, I don't think it's spoiler to say, a little more of a romantic theme, that he found to be sort of an encapsulation in equal proportion, right? So I think there is something in this movie for everybody. And I think you guys should watch it. It's really long. It's 3 hours. And I'll be honest, my head, usually I am pretty tired by the end of the 3 hours of reading subtitles. I actually get a headache after it, but it's so worth it every time. Every time I do it, I'm like, all right, I'll watch EE again, but I'll take a break because I know it's gonna be a long movie. Every time I don't take a break, it's that good. I've showed it to so many people. I never get tired of it. It is my favorite movie ever. It's my favorite thing ever. I strive to one day be able to make a piece of art that good. And that's what a lot of my favorite pieces of art are, right? I think it's easy to look at a Picasso and be like, man, I wonder if I'll ever be great someday. But I think there's something more special about looking at something that you uniquely love yourself and being like, I wonder if I'll ever be able to make something that I love that much. And that's what I find so inspiring about my favorite art. So I should have done this call to action at the beginning of the episode, but tell me about your favorite pieces of art ever. I just lost a bunch of comments for not doing that, but hey, I forgot, so that's all right. This is The Painting. Go check it out on the TikTok and Instagram. And until next time, guys, gals, and pals, my name is Max Dice. This is Make Talk episode 260. I'm here every morning, painting and talking with you all.